Hey, I'm Spencer,
And I'm John.
and we are in Panic at the Disco, and you are watching the 24 Hours podcast.
T minus 4, 3, 2, 1. Following is a 24 Hours podcast.
Spencer, John, Panic at the Disco. Great album. You've been touring around on this for a while. Is it still enjoyable to play the songs night after night?
Yes.
Yeah. It did start getting a little monotonous after a few months of touring. But in the last couple tours, we've kind of changed songs, we've added parts, we've changed the way we play certain songs, so keeps them a little fresher.
Now, speaking of songs, I mean, there's some pretty elaborate titles. I mean, was that a conscious effort when you guys were putting the album together? Like, let's not come up with cliche song titles. Let's really get in depth.
Yeah, that was, none of those titles were made up even before the songs were written. Those were all kind of the last thought after they were recorded. And I don't know, a lot of bands have just one-word titles, just one word from the song, the chorus of the song, and it's somewhat boring. I mean, I know just from, we always get asked about the titles of the questions, and to me it did what I guess our goal was. I mean, people read the title of the song and maybe are more apt to listen to it just based on what the title says, you know? So, I don't know. It's a little more interesting than just one word.
Now, this is your second time in Vancouver. You guys were here during the summer. How are Canadian audiences in general compared to U.S. audiences?
Canadian audiences are great. Nardwar is his name. Yeah, we met him last time we were
He's
here.
a bit different. He's not a typical Canadian.
Yeah, we met him last time we were here, and he was great.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
No, not Nardwar. But do you like Vancouver? Good city?
Yeah, last time we got to go around in the city a little bit, and it seems really nice.
I like the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
I really
Yeah.
like any city that I can see mountains in the distance.
Now, touring around together, spending all this time together on buses, I mean, you must learn a lot about each other as individuals. Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, are you growing closer, or is there, you know?
No, it's great. Yeah, I know almost as much as I'd like to know about Spencer Smith at this point.
I'd like to know more about Spencer Smith. Yeah, I don't know. We're definitely not growing apart. But you know, you kind of learn what makes people mad, or you know, that you can aggravate people very easily if you want to. But I think that, especially on the last couple tours, we've been able to kind of, everybody is able to kind of be by themselves if they want, or be around people if they want, and having that is, you know, kind of keeps you sane, I guess.
Grounded.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of grounded, when you have this success story that's going on, the hype around you guys is phenomenal. I mean, how do you manage to keep your feet planted firmly on the ground and keep it in check?
I know, like, just with a lot of bands that are currently, you know, touring and doing stuff like that, it's we haven't really even gotten a chance to take a step back and kind of reflect and like see what's been going on, because we've been so involved in it and so busy. So I feel like, you know, that just alone keeps us kind of grounded. You know, that and just family at home and us just being friends with each other. You know, just kind of puts a perspective on everything. What would you say?
Yeah, I know that, like, I'll talk to people in interviews, and they'll say, you know, oh, have you bought a house yet, and all this stuff. And it's like, every time that I've been home this year hasn't been the longest I've been home was 3 weeks, like, in between tours. I mean, we don't really have time. We haven't had time to, you know, go out and, I guess, you know, for that example, get anything that would have been brought on from the success. And then, yeah, and not even specifically about like money as well. I mean, I guess, yeah, I can think, you know, we had a video that won one of the biggest awards this year, but what I'm thinking about today is our next video more than anything, you know, and I think we're constantly thinking about all the stuff that we want to do and that we have coming up, that less time sitting there thinking about the last year.
How important, I mean, obviously you guys owe a lot to the internet. How important do you think that is as a marketing tool now for new up-and-coming bands?
I think the internet in general is just, you know, obviously a lot more popular than it was 5-10 years ago. I mean, everybody has it now, and it's definitely a better way for, you know, a band in Chicago who has no money to tour. You know, people in California and people in New York can hear those songs within, you know, the click of a mouse. And I think it's just...
I think it's just all great.
It's all great. Definitely poses a problem, though, because though it's easier for bands to get recognized, the amount of bands out there is, you know, increased, you know, significantly because it's so, you know, easy.
Well, the weird thing too is that it's when bands are just starting and they're a local band, they'll give anything to have started, you know, their fan base growing, and because of the internet being so readily available, it's also a lot of times free. But for obviously any band who's starting out, that's not a concern for us. I didn't care if 1 million people got to listen to our record, and we didn't see a cent from it, just because that's kind of the perspective. But a lot of times with bands, it'll change as they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then, you know, as you know, a few years ago with that whole thing, you know, with it kind of becoming a problem. So I don't know. It's really good for us though. So I hope it doesn't. I hope Lars Ulrich doesn't take that away from us.
24hours.ca